Hello, you beautiful Spark, and welcome back to another solo episode of Spark TV. I am your host, Danielle Lewis, the founder and CEO here at Spark Business. And today I am answering a ChatGPT question. So I put it to ChatGPT. I said, if you were a woman in business, what would be a question that you would want to ask me as a woman who has run multiple businesses over the last 12 years? And of course, it came back with a whole bunch of random stuff. And so I selected a couple that I would actually want to know as well, and that I could share some insights on. And this one came up. How do you fire a customer? This is a really interesting question and something that I don't think a lot of people talk about when going into business. But it comes up on our networking call, Spark networking calls all the time, because they're great opportunities to share wins, challenges, and what's happening inside your business. And one of the things that I didn't know when I first started my business was that some customers are shit. And some don't even pay their invoices. It was a pretty rough lesson. As someone who had worked in corporate for over a decade and had gotten their paycheck on time every month, or however frequently it was, depending on the job I had, when I was so excited that I sold something and then I did the work, being in a service-based industry, and then to have the customer ghost or take months of chasing to pay their invoice. Wild. Also wild that, oftentimes when we go into business, we're just so like, oh my God, I got to land the client, that we do take on anyone and everyone that wants to work with us, which I kind of think you have to do. I think it's a bit of a rite of passage in the early days, to just take on everyone. It's nice that we talk about this stuff now, but sometimes there's nothing like just feeling the pain to know what you will and won't tolerate in business. And and some clients are just shit to work with, right? They, you can explain things very clearly to them and they don't do them. They take liberties with the terms and the conditions in your contract. They change the rules. They, speak poorly to your team. They're just generally not good human beings. Don't get me wrong, plenty of amazing clients out there, but, we don't really talk about the fact that sometimes, that not all clients are created equal. That's a really interesting thing. So, of course, there may be a time in your business where it has come time to fire someone. And there's so much stuff that can come up around that, right? Like, oh my God, I should be grateful for the fact that someone wants to pay me money. I need the money. So how can I then fire the client? There's all of these stories that we tell ourselves. However, one thing that I think I've gotten to, or a place that I've gotten to, is that a bad client, it's not just about the money. So if you are over delivering for that client, theoretically you could be losing money, right? Because you're not actually getting paid for your time. If they're not paying their invoices anyway, you're working for free. Not good in business. And the mental load as well, right? Can be so taxing having negative conversations or negative experiences with a customer. It can really derail your whole day, right? And cause you to be unproductive, cause you not to do all the other things that you need to do in your business. So sometimes it's not just about the money that you might be saying no to. So sometimes it is the right call to actually fire a customer. Now, there are different ways to do this. I was on a podcast recording a couple of weeks ago and we were having this very same conversation, and I asked that guest, I said, how would you recommend firing a customer? And they said, they would very much fall back on the contract, so the terms and conditions in the contract. And if the customer had breached those terms and conditions, it was a very clear, time to part ways, which I thought was fantastic, right? If you don't have contracts, that's one of the times where they can save you, and they're amazing. So please make sure you have contracts. I will be very honest with you. I am very non-confrontational. I do not like having uncomfortable conversations with people. I'm actually putting off firing a customer right now. I fired a customer last week and I've been putting off firing a customer, even though I know sending this email will take me 3 minutes, but I just don't like confrontation. Anyway, so I do it a little bit softer, and I'll give you an example of the one that I fired last week or the week before. And essentially, I've been working with this client for probably over 12 months now. Started off pretty hunky-dory. However, I've had to chase every invoice. Every invoice has been late. And look, as a business owner, I too have had cash flow issues. So over the last 12 years, of course, there have been times where I've had cash flow issues. So I've made excuses for late payments. Maybe this is just karma biting me in the ass. However, so when I heard her saying those excuses to me, I knew that they were just excuses. I knew that she was having cash flow issues. But I guess where I got shitty of it, it was every month, and I kind of got to that point, well, if she can't really afford to pay for this role, then why are we doing it? Why do I have to chase this invoice every time? But then she was also growing the team, so late on my payments, but then hiring new people, which was not great. So that was the biggest annoyance, to be honest. And then as the agreement went on, scope got changed, people were being, and this one's so ego driven, I hate to say it out loud, but other people were being praised for the work I was doing. It was really fucking annoying. So yeah, I basically got to the end and I was like, it's time to part ways. So fortunately for me in that situation, the work I'd started doing, just because, I was just kind of going with the flow, was really outside my scope, and it really wasn't something I was that great at. So fortunately for me, I could write an email that said, since the time that we started working together, the scope has changed considerably. I'm looking at my business moving forward and we won't be offering those services anymore. We're really streamlining, and as you don't require the original services we agreed on, it's probably time. I want to make sure that, you are best looked after. So it's probably time if we part ways. If you want any recommendations of people who are great at that kind of work, I can absolutely give them to you. So that's the way I handled that one. And yeah, so I think you can do it really contractually, really set boundaries, be really strict, or you can be like me and just make up a crock of shit and get out of that relationship. I think the thing is, it doesn't really matter how you do it how it works for you. Just if you are being treated unfairly by a customer, know your worth, know your value. There is so much out there. This is really your opportunity to have an abundance mindset and to know that there are enough customers for you. There are enough customers to go around. There is enough money to go around. There is enough money for you, for your competitors. There is no cap on what you can earn and your potential. I got so excited by that, I hit the microphone. So do know your worth. And if it is time, if you've been sitting on it, please take this as your sign to fire that customer. You will just feel so much better for it. Amazing. I hope that helped bring a little spark to your business today. And I look forward to chatting with you in the next episode.